To remove my mask just while I'm talking on the microphone, so let's do that. It's a bit difficult.
What I'll do is I'll take the...
Good morning, welcome to the Railway Museum, and welcome in particular to this. This is the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway School of Signalling. This model railway was actually built for training staff, and it spent an awfully long time doing that, all the way through from January 1913 right up to September 1995. It's easy to let those dates wash over you, but that's 82.5 years. Literally hundreds of thousands of people must have trained on this layout. We're going to show how it works in a moment, and I'll do a bit more talking about it. But before that, we communicate with bells with one another, and we're going to all go through the opening of signal box bell signal. 5 pause 5 pause 5. But we call attention first, one beat on the bell. There'll now be a cacophony of bells, if that's the right word, all around the layout where all the signal boxes come to work. And they're all exchanging 555 with one another. Incidentally, if 555 is not received at the time it should be received, you get on the telephone and see if the person's there, and if they're not, when they should be there, then they're going to be in trouble. But we're going to ring the control office and get somebody else out there quickly so we're not delaying trains. The system we've got here is something called absolute block signalling. Absolute block allows only one train between two consecutive red signals at a time, even where they're controlled from two separate signal boxes. We've got 4 signal boxes on this layout. T for the terminus where I'll be working, and Graham and Steve are working at A and B consecutively, and Charles is around at C. We're going to demonstrate just how absolute block signalling works in the section between A and B in a moment. Before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the signals themselves. These are called semaphore signals, signals that have arms rather than lights. Although there are lights hidden behind the spectacles, because you can't see the arm at night, or couldn't before high intensity headlights and that sort of thing. So there are lights at night, but the daytime indication, if the arm is in the horizontal position with a red signal, it's telling the driver to stop. With a yellow signal, we've got one somewhere, with a yellow signal, it's warning the driver, if it's in the horizontal position, that the next red signal is still in the horizontal position, so he needs to be prepared to stop. If that is in the clear position, I haven't explained what the clear position is yet, let's have a little bit of a demonstration of that. If the signal is raised or lowered through 45 degrees, it's cleared. In the case of a red signal, it tells the driver to proceed to the next red signal, and it also guarantees that the line is clear all the way to the next red signal. The yellow signal, if that's in the horizontal position, warns the driver to start slowing down now. If it's raised or lowered through 45 degrees, it guarantees the driver that he's going to have a clear run past the next signal box, so he doesn't have to slow down at all. All this is very important because the steel wheel on the steel rail, while it's quite efficient in some ways, doesn't have a very good coefficient of friction. So it takes a long time to stop a train, so driving on site just isn't a possibility in most circumstances. Now let's have a look now at how we signal a train between Graham at A and Steve at B. I've already cleared my signal back here. We're not going to use the communication system between T and A for this demonstration, but we will do later on. So Steve is in charge of the section. Even though he might be several miles away, he's in charge of the section. Graham, on the other hand, is going to admit the train to the section. So the two signallers have to communicate with one another and cooperate with one another. That communication is done in a way you mightn't imagine. It's done by a series of bell messages, as we've just given, and movements of the telegraph indicators, rather than done over the telephone. And I guess there's 2 reasons for that, really. One is that you can trace this method of signalling back to 1844. Claycross Tunnel just south of Chesterfield is the first example I've been able to find any books of absolute block working. The telephone wasn't invented till 1876, by which time 3/4 of the railway in this country was being operated on this principle. So quite a good reason not to use the telephone. It hasn't been invented yet. But I'm talking in the present tense because just over 10% of the network rail infrastructure is still worked on this system today, and we still use bells and indicators rather than telephones. Why? It's quicker, more convenient, much less likely to be misunderstood and get across the line or something like that, or talk like I'm talking now and not everybody can understand me. Once you know what the bell codes mean, they're pretty straightforward. So Graham's got this train approaching him now that he wants to signal through to Steve at box B. The first thing Graham needs to do is to call Steve's attention with one beat on the bell. And Steve springs into action and he replies to that one beat, essentially saying, yes, I'm listening. So Graham can now pass his message, and the message this time is going to be in the form of a question, and the question is going to be, is the down main line, see these diagrams are supposed to illustrate the areas of control of the signal box, so we call that one the down main line. Is the down main line clear for an ordinary stopping passenger train? Different types of trains have different codes, and the one for a stopping passenger train is 3-1. Now that was a question for Steve. The whole of the line between Graham and Steve, and that could be several miles long, needs to be clear. I'll tell you how he's established that in a moment. But in addition to that, the line has to be clear for 1/4 mile beyond the first stop signal at Steve's signal box. We call it the home signal. And within that distance, all the points have to be set for the safety of the approaching train. Points are moved with black levers, and they have to be locked as well, and a blue lever will lock them. So it's blue lever number 10 you need, Steve. I know you've not been here for a while. That's it, you've locked it. Steve is now satisfied it's safe for the train to approach. He can now agree to the train coming. Railway parlance, we say he's accepting the train. And he does that by receiving the 3-1 bell code, and pegging the block indicator, the telegraph indicator, to the line clear position. And you can see Graham's pointing. Only when Graham has seen it repeated in his signal box is he allowed to clear his section signal for the train to go into the section. And he's going to clear all his signals now in succession. Home signal first, section signal next, and the distance signal, actually the driver's passed it, but the distance signal back here. So if the driver's passed the distance signal, that's fine, but he'll now have to approach the home signal cautiously until he sees it is in the clear position. When the train passes Graham at signal box A, he needs to let Steve know it's coming, and he does that by sending the train entering section bell signal. 2 beats on the bell. Steve replies, and he turns the indicator to train online, the red segment of these instruments. Both of the signalmen will have been writing down all these bell signals and the times at which they were sent and received in a book we call the Train Register Book. We're not doing it here this morning because the trains, even the model trains going slowly, get too quickly through the section. We would have actually had a junior rail person here to keep a book for you with trains this busy. You wouldn't have time to do it yourself. Okay, the train is coming out now at Steve's signal box, at signal box B. When it passes Steve, Steve's looking at it to make sure there's nothing wrong with it, apparently wrong with it. But he's also looking for one very, very important thing. He's looking to see the train carries a tail lamp on the rear vehicle, and that proves that the train has come through the section complete. So that proves that the section must be clear again. The train hasn't left a little bit behind. Steve's aware of that now, so once he's put his home signal back to danger, and the train has gone that 1/4 mile again, he calls attention to Graham. Graham replies, and Steve sends the train out of section bell signal, which is 2-1. Graham replies, and Steve puts the indicator needle back to the central position, the normal position. And if Graham had another train at that stage, that's the stage that he can signal it forward. Can't just let it go. Every train has to be separately offered and accepted. What we're going to do now is bring the train back to the terminus, and we'll now be using all the bells and all the signals. And I'm going to be the signaller at T as well, so I need to get some things sorted out, don't I? I'm going to put it into this platform. So I'm going to want that signal to bring it into this platform. The points are set correctly, but I need to get the points locked, because they're facing points, they have to be locked. So that's blue lever number 5 locks those points. Only when I've locked those points can I actually clear the signal. And the signal that I want, I've got a little diagram here in front of me conveniently, is number 2. But I'm going to wait for it to be signalled to me first. So I've given the line clear to Graham, and I'm going to now clear that signal into platform 2. I'll also clear the distance signal. Something you don't do nowadays is clear the distance signal on the approach to a terminus station. You haven't done since 1975, the accident at Moorgate, 28th of February 1975. Didn't cause it, but the inspecting officer found it a bit counterintuitive, to use his word, to have a distance signal cleared when the line ahead ended in a buffer stop. But of course, this training school goes back way before 1975. This train is actually not a relic, really. It was donated to us, or donated to the layout, when this layout was 100 years old. So it's a diesel multiple unit, and the model itself is only about, how long since we were 100? Can you remember any of 100? To see, oh, here we go, there's my train coming. Train entering section, train online. Distance signal back. And the train has to clear the facing points before I'm allowed to put the stop signal back. And the next train we're going to run is going to be the express passenger train. So let's see if I can do that as well. I need lever number 7, don't I? Which locks these points, yeah? It's actually locking the points. All these levers are interlocked, so that I can't make a mistake, actually. I could send the train the wrong way, but I can't make a mistake that would be dangerous. And I need to offer the train forward now. Before I do that, I need to send the train out of section for the one that's arrived. And now let's offer the express passenger train. Now the express passenger train is 4 beeps on the bell. Call attention first. 4 beeps. Is the line clear for an express passenger train? And watch that go to line clear. Only then am I allowed to clear my signal for the train to go. And it's number 12 signal I want. And it's going. As soon as it passes my box, let Graham know it's coming. 2 beeps, train entering section. And watch for the indicator to go to train online. I should have put the metro on top of it, yeah. Where are we going to go? I'm going to refuse it because I'm going to send the metro car out first, get them in the right order.
say you want to be dancing the one before? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to refuse it. I want to get the metro car out.
Okay, I'm going to run this train now. I've got the trains in the wrong order in the platform, if you haven't guessed this, but I've now got permission for this one to go. And I'm going to hold the express out here while the little London Underground car goes out. This little London Underground car, incidentally, has got a built-in tail lamp, a red light in the back of it, which is what you see on most trains nowadays. Sorry. I'm going to accept the express train now. I'm going to bring the express in here. That means I need number 5 points. Locked by I need number 6 points, I should say, locked by number 5, facing point lock. You can only do these in the correct order. And then number 3 signal will bring the train into the platform. Tell the driver he's coming in here. I'm accepting it now. We're going to bring the London Underground car straight back from the other end, and we're also going to bring that into this platform. We'll get them in the order I should have put them on the track when I set up this morning then. So I'll put that back, and I'll send train out a section. Train's arrived, it's complete with its tail lamp. Important to look at that tail lamp. We're signalling this train forward with the Isline Clear Bell signal 312. And that means Isline Clear for an electric stopping passenger train. It's handy to know if a train's electric or not, so I know not to put it on an electrified line or siding. Now what I'm going to do here when the train gets here, I'm going to put it into this platform here behind the express. And I've got a little signal here for that purpose. We call it calling on signal. And now the driver is driving using their eyes, or Katie will be doing. I'm going to bring her to a stand here first to make sure she really knows what she's doing. Because the instruction of this little arm, the calling on signal to Katie the driver, is that they can proceed, but they must do so prepared to stop short of whatever's on the line ahead, and there's no guarantee how far that may be. So that's number 4 signal. Authorises Katie to pass the main signal at danger and proceed into an occupied platform, but use your eyes, look at the back of the train ahead. You're buying lunch if you crash into the back of it. No pressure. And I'm going to look for this little red light in the back here, the tail light, that tells me the whole train has come. There'd have to be something very much wrong with the automatic brake system on a train nowadays for it to leave a bit behind. But it could happen. And most accidents in railway history have happened because more than one thing has gone wrong at the same time. Now, I have seen the tail lamp. I need to tell Graham it's arrived complete. Okay, let's get the How are we doing for time? Let's get the freight train out, I think. And what we're going to do with the freight train, we're going to bring it out of the siding where it stands at the moment. We're going to draw it up here to stand behind these little shunting signals. I haven't mentioned them, have I yet? We've got 3 of them here, all on top of, one on top of the other. And they read like you read a book, top to bottom, left to right. So what's going to happen is it's going to go into the goods loop, and it's going to couple up to the locomotive that's already there. So top and left, yes, the top signal will be, but we've got to get the thing out first. Now because it's coming towards me, Graham's got to ask my permission first, so you're going to shunt into forward section with it. So I've agreed to him shunting towards me. He's not going to go all the way through, but I have to give him the line clear as well. And he's also going to ask Steve's permission, because he's going to come to a stand within that 1/4 of a mile. So he's what we call blocking back inside over to Steve. This layout was made deliberately difficult, so trainee signallers have to do all these moves. If I had another signal down here, I wouldn't have needed to do it. If Graham had another signal towards Steve, he wouldn't have needed to do that. So we've got that little signal there, that little shunting signal, that's authorising the driver to come out onto the main line. And Graham's going to send me train entering section. It is on. I switched it on. I know I've got the trains in the wrong order in the platform, which I'll never live down. I don't need to clear any signals for this because it's not coming as far as me. It's going to stop behind those discs. But I'm going to have to do something, because I won't be able to release my block indicator if a train hasn't been through the section. So I would have an override plunger, but I haven't actually got one. So I'm going to have to pretend I'm the flange of a wheel. You'll hear a click in a minute. Right. That fools the system into thinking a train has come through the section. So you didn't see me do that. And now we're going to signal the train into the goods loop. Now this is recording that there is a train in the section. It's a train online. But see all these numbers here? When they put the second train in, they'll turn that to number 2. To show there are 2 trains in the siding, in the loop. And it's the top disc that's been cleared.
This is a hazard.
Yeah, we would have had to have a special authority for what we call propelling, which is pushing a train with the engine at the other end, but we'll assume we have authority to propel. That was Graham telling me he's finished shunting towards me. Bear in mind I can't actually see what's happening, so 8 means shunt withdrawn. And I can now put my block indicator back to the normal position. And we're going to run that freight train around the layout in a moment.